In this lesson, you will come to understand what the adjustment process is and how it applies to you as a college student. You will learn different coping mechanisms for when college becomes overwhelming or stressful, and you will understand what emotional intelligence is and how to apply it in college. Entering college is much like crossing the border into another country. Just as each country has customs, a culture, and language of its own, so too does university life have a distinct custom, culture, and language. As such, we can draw from cultural specialists to help us understand the process of adjusting to a new culture. In their book, Beyond Language, Levine and Adelman suggest that when people move to a new culture, an adjustment process is often experienced. They say that reactions to a new culture vary, but experience and research have shown that there are distinct stages in the adjustment process. The first stage of the adjustment process is known as the honeymoon period. In this stage of the adjustment, there is great fascination and excitement by everything in the new culture. Living independently for the first time brings an increased sense of freedom by the array of choices in social activities, course offerings, and the ways in which one chooses to use his or her time. But as the honeymoon phase doesn't last, often individuals experience culture shock. This occurs as students are immersed more deeply in the new culture and as new problems arise. For instance, new students are often surprised by the increased workload that college courses demand. Furthermore, living with new people from distinct cultures and backgrounds can often prove challenging for many new students. The strain of housing, transportation, employment, shopping, the school load, finances, and relationships often results in mental fatigue, which comes from continuously straining to understand the new culture. The third stage of the adjustment process is initial adjustment. In this stage, everyday activities such as locating one's classes, university resources, being able to maneuver the university's learning management system, or even locating shopping options are no longer major problems. For the college student, renewed confidence ensues as they prove their ability to function on their own. The fourth stage is mental isolation. Students have been away from their family and friends for a time and may feel lonely. They may also find that living in the new culture isn't as glamorous as they had previously hoped it would be, or that they are performing in the new culture at a level below their own expectations. This results in frustration and sometimes a loss of self-confidence. The final stage of the adjustment process is referred to as acceptance and integration. In this stage, a routine has been established, and the person is now accustomed to the habits, traditions, expectations, rules, and characteristics of the people in the new culture. Several symptoms that students commonly experience while adapting to their new environment include homesickness, an inability to work well, irregular eating and sleeping patterns, anger towards a new system of education, glorifying the previous home culture, an inability to deal with smart problems, and withdrawal or avoidance of new people. These symptoms of adjusting are often accompanied by distressing emotions. Stress negatively impacts mental skills such as creativity, concentration, and memory. Experiencing stress is not necessarily bad, but how stress is managed may affect one's ability to perform well in college. For example, some anxiety or stress can be healthy if it motivates you to complete a task, study more, or work harder. To reduce stress, it is important to identify early distressing feelings one may be experiencing and then to take positive actions to avoid being hijacked by one's emotions. Stress can manifest itself through feelings such as resentment, anger, sadness, depression, being overwhelmed, fear, and anxiety. So what can be done to reduce stress? First, you need to identify early on the specific distressing emotions that you're experiencing. You also need to build a vocabulary for the various emotions that you might experience, and then learn the distinctions between the feelings of anger, fear, sadness, etc. Then you should take positive actions to avoid being hijacked by these emotions. For instance, anger is often experienced as a natural response to a threat or injustice against someone or something that we care about. We should first become aware of our physical symptoms, such as flushed skin, tense muscles, and an increased pulse rate. Then we should pause and wisely choose what to do next, rather than to act impulsively. For example, if you find yourself feeling angry, here are some alternative actions that you could use to address this emotion. Exercise. Moving vigorously assists in reducing anger-fueling hormones in your body. Separate. Go off and be alone. It will give you time to regain your ability to make rational, positive choices. Relax. Ask yourself, is this really as bad as it seems? Or would someone else in their right mind be as equally angered if they were in my situation? Journal. Write about your feelings in detail, but be sure that your journal is kept private. Don't vent your feelings in social media for the rest of the world to read. Ask for help. Go to counseling and talk to your parents. They'll know what to do to help you the best. Channel your anger into positive actions, like serving others. Reframe. Look at the problem from different perspectives. Search for a benign explanation causing the event. If you realize that you were wronged unknowingly, unintentionally, or unnecessarily, take responsibility for any part that you played in creating that anger. Distract yourself. Shift your attention to something pleasant and uplifting. Identify the deeper hurt. Anger is often built upon being hurt. Forgive. Don't concern yourself with whether or not they deserve forgiveness. The reason to forgive is primarily to improve your life, not theirs. Fear and anxiety are additional emotions we experience when we perceive ourselves to be in danger. However, in many cases, these feelings are exaggerated, causing us to be paralyzed by the possibility of what could go wrong. Here are some positive actions we can take when we are experiencing fear and anxiety. Number 1, prepare thoroughly. Confidence gained through extensive preparation diminishes anxiety. Number 2, detach. Once you've prepared fully, there's no more you can do, and worrying won't help. So do everything that you can to ready yourself for a challenge, and then trust the outcome to take care of itself. Number 3, reframe. Ask yourself, if the worst happens, can I live with it? If you fail a test, for example, you wouldn't like it, but could you live with it? If not, then you should consider seeking help to regain a healthy perspective. Number 4, visualize success and assume the best. Create a mental movie of achieving your ideal outcomes. Play the movie over and over until the picture of success becomes stronger than your fear. Number 5, say your affirmations. When anxious thoughts creep into your mind, replace them with the positive words about yourself and about your situation. Number 6, face your fear. Do what you fear in spite of the fear. Most often, you will learn that your fear was just a false expectation appearing real. So what if you're dealing with sadness and depression? First, know that fully grieving a loss is essential, for only in this way do we both honor and resolve our loss. However, lingering depression can keep us from moving forward to create a positive life despite our losses. By making positive choices, you can move beyond sadness and depression, because positive choices produce results in our lives that make us feel accomplished, and these feelings can fight depression. Some positive actions that you can take to overcome sadness and depression are to exercise and eat wisely, listen to uplifting music, get moving, socialize, serve others, and laugh. As you keep your mind occupied, you will be distracted from anything that could trigger feelings of sadness, leading to depressive symptoms. Another way to approach feelings of sadness is by choosing new thoughts. Disputing pessimistic beliefs, distracting yourself, remembering what loved ones want for you, and identifying your blessings are all great ways of combating feelings of sadness. How about if you're feeling overwhelmed? Feeling overwhelmed is probably one of the most common stressors for college students. Being overwhelmed is a warning signal that tells you that you've lost control of your life. It tells you that your life has gotten too complicated and your commitments have become too many. Actions you can take when feeling overwhelmed include 1, separating yourself, even if only briefly, from whatever is causing you the stress. Number 2, list and prioritize everything that you need to do by doing the most important and urgent items first. Number 3, consciously make better use of your time by saying no to unimportant activities. Number 4, exercise regularly and get enough sleep. Number 5, live within your means by curtailing any unnecessary spending. Number 6, trust a positive outcome. And number 7, take life one day at a time. Your ability to successfully maneuver through college and life will be greatly influenced by your ability to deal with the emotions we have mentioned and talked about so far. The ability to recognize and manage our emotions and those of others is called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about recognizing and effectively managing your emotions and the emotions of others. There are 4 components of emotional intelligence. The first 2 deal with recognizing your own feelings in the moment and then properly managing these emotions. The last 2 deal with one's ability to empathize accurately with the emotions of others and then to intervene with skill to preserve your relationships. The foundation of emotional intelligence is emotional self-awareness. To develop emotional self-awareness, it is helpful to build a vocabulary of emotions that are commonly experienced and to become cognizant or mentally aware of these feelings in the moment. It is important to identify and understand what is causing the emotions experienced. Additionally, it is helpful to recognize the difference between a feeling and a resulting action. The ability to manage your emotions effectively is known as emotional self-management. When you can manage your emotions, it prevents you from making critical decisions during times of high drama. For example, if you find yourself in a critical situation, you should wait until your inner storm is calmed. Then you can consider choices that will lead you to the outcomes that you desire the most for your life. As a rule of thumb, never make an important decision while experiencing strong emotions. Emotional intelligence includes empathizing accurately with the emotions of others. This is called social awareness and is a fundamental people skill. By being socially aware, you are more able to notice when someone else is experiencing anxiety, sadness, anger, etc. Relationship management is the last component of emotional intelligence. This is the ability to manage emotions in relationships with skill and harmony. People who excel at skills such as listening, resolving conflicts, cooperating, and articulating the pulse of a group are better capable to interact with no difficulty with others. The art of developing good relationships will largely depend on the ability to respond with consideration towards the feelings of others. For example, someone who understands how to manage relationships would resist saying something that might publicly embarrass someone else. Developing emotional wisdom will fuel your motivation, help you successfully negotiate emotional storms, yours and others, and enhance your chances of creating your greatest goals and dreams. In conclusion, you should now understand what the adjustment process is and how it applies to you as a college student. You should also be able to apply different coping mechanisms for when college becomes overwhelming and stressful. And you should understand what emotional intelligence is and how to apply it in college and in life.